Hello, welcome to my channel. If you clicked on this video, I'm sure it's because you intuitively feel like you're a little bit curious about your solitude or shedding things that no longer serve you, prioritizing your peace, etc. I am in my mid-20s. In 2022, I could say that I had my spiritual awakening. I think that it was weird for me because it was kind of just like called to me, if that makes sense. I had a lot of, I don't call them coincidences, but some may call them coincidences, but synchronicities that were a little weird for me. And I just remember like when those situations would happen, I'd be like, this is fucking crazy. Like, there's no way. In 2022, I was going through a lot. I was starting a new chapter in my life, going to a different school, learning a trade. And I was removing a lot of people out of my life that I knew were not aligning with what I saw for myself in the future. It was like a really weird time for me. I felt very alone and confused. I feel like that's very normal for someone in their early 20s. It's a really confusing time, especially it being after the pandemic. Like, the pandemic was already like a really weird time in itself. And a lot changed for me during the pandemic as well. Like, I stopped going to school. I switched my whole career. I was like in a relationship in the beginning of the pandemic, and then I ended up not being in a relationship. I think with all those things going on in my life, I was really lost and confused. I knew deep down that those certain people needed to go, and I needed to just focus more on myself and pour into myself. It's not easy at first. I feel like you try to find distractions of like other things to kind of fill those voids you have within yourself. A lot of people do that. I feel like that's very normalized in our society to have these these people we're talking to distract us, or hanging around with certain type of people every weekend to distract us from what's really going on within ourselves, or what we really want for ourselves, or what, you know what I mean? I think that once I started realizing that I needed to focus on myself and prioritize myself, everything changed for me. I am someone that is super comfortable with doing things alone. I think since I was like a little girl, I've been naturally a very independent person. As you go through school and you make your friends, and then you go to college and you have your community of people. And then I got to a point where I was like, I felt like I didn't fit in with the people that I was surrounding myself with. I just felt different. I felt like I wanted different. I saw different. Like, my perspective on a lot of things was different. We didn't align with a lot of things. I didn't want to do the things that they were doing. So I removed myself from those situations. I started to really learn a lot about myself. I started reading a lot about spirituality, personal development books, self-help books. I was learning about the things that intrigued me that I never really knew about. I think 2024 for me was a year of me really in my solitude. It was a lot of first times for me of doing things like alone. So I went to like my first concert alone. I went to my first music festival alone in San Francisco. It was 2 days. A 2-day festival. I spent New Year's alone for the first time this year for 2025, that was interesting. Not really interesting because I didn't do anything. I just was home and I was asleep before the countdown even happened. I think that when I talk to people about when people ask me oh, what'd you do this weekend? Or what'd you do yesterday? Or what are you going to do this weekend? I'm like, oh, I'm going to go on a hike, or, oh, I'm going to go to a brewery, or I'm going to go here and I'm going to read my book. It's always like, oh, who are you going with? And I'm like, I'm just going by myself, And I feel like people always look at me like, wow, you're going alone? It's always kind of like a shock, Almost like I'm crazy. Yo, I'm not crazy, And I always get that response when I tell them yeah, I'm going alone. It's always wow, I wish I could do that, but it's you can. You can't do that. You don't want to, or you're scared. And there's nothing to be scared of doing things alone. When you are able to do things alone, you don't have to rely on somebody to do that with. You get to a point where you're just like so confident and secure within yourself that you enjoy your own company. And you can have fun doing anything. I've caught myself when I go on like a date with someone, right? Okay, hold on. Let's backtrack a little bit. I've been single for over 3 years now. It will be 4 years by the end of in October. So like by the end of the year. So it's been a little over 3 years. Obviously, I've dated people in the span of those 3 years, but it's never been anything like, serious. It was just like, it was trying to get there, but then it like wouldn't. Because I'm the type of person, I'm not just gonna like have a boyfriend just to have a boyfriend. He has to be a boyfriend. I would go on dates with people and I would have like so much fun, and they would have so much fun. You know why that is? Because I can have so much fun by myself. So like obviously, if I'm gonna hang out with somebody, I am so secure within myself and confident within myself that I'm gonna have fun regardless of who I'm with, of who I'm spending my time with. Does that make sense? I think that being able to do things on your own and being confident in that, embracing it, is so beautiful. Like, confidence can take you so far in life, and the more you value and love yourself, the less you're going to tolerate from other people that do not love and value yourself at that same extent that you love yourself. Does that make sense? Because if you don't love and appreciate yourself this much, someone else is not going to love and appreciate yourself that much. Does that make sense? If I only love myself and appreciate myself this much, then that other person is going to do just about that much as well. I'm very, very proud of myself for being here at this point in my life where I'm just confident in myself. I'm able to do anything alone. And honestly, most of the time, I love to do things alone. And I'm not here to say that having a community and having friends is not is not important. For me, my friends, it's hard because we work opposite schedules. So we don't really have like the same days off. And so it's hard to like do things. And if we do hang out, it's like in little times, like little time frames, or like for the night. I got to do it on my own, and that's okay. Like, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't know. To me, it's just really like, it's sad that when someone's telling you they're doing something alone, like people look at them like they're crazy. Like, yes, I'm doing it alone. Is that a crime? Like that should be normalized. We should normalize that as a society. But like I said, I'm not sitting here trying to downplay the fact that you still need to have community and have loved ones and friends and family and connections. And, you shouldn't have to rely on those people to go do stuff, go experience things. Another big thing I feel like that has drastically shaped my life has been prioritizing my peace. When something in my life is disturbing my peace, I will remove myself from that situation. It's taken me so long to get to this point of my life being so peaceful that I'm not willing to risk anything disturbing that. For me, my peace is something that I prioritize so highly in my life, and I value that so much. I can't let myself be disturbed again, if that makes sense. Both relationships that I had were not the best, were very toxic. So I think when you go through situations like that, it makes you realize how not okay that is. I think society as a whole, we have a lot of healing to do, and I feel like a lot of people aren't doing the work. And we need to do the work. We need to do the work. I think that too, when you are someone that has lots of problems in their life, or it's always something coming up, or you complain a lot about everything, like your life is chaos, that is your outer world is a reflection of your inner world. That means you're not taking care of yourself internally, mentally. You're not prioritizing yourself. You're not checking in with yourself, seeing what is it that you need, what is it that you need to focus on for yourself to make yourself happy, you know? Those types of people, I think they're so in like this crazy headspace, so focused on all these negatives that they're not even aware of the fact that they're the ones doing this to themselves. Your outer world is a reflection of your inner world. It shows. Like people can see that in you, you know? Okay. I think I've had enough yapping. I think I'm going to do more of these sit down videos where I can just talk, you know, let my thoughts flow. I can talk about these things forever because I feel like it's something that is very interesting to me. I think that being someone that I'd like to say I vibrate at a high frequency. A lot of the times, I think part of the reason why it's hard for me to relate to people is because we're not vibrating at the same frequency. And I don't mean that in an egotistical way, like I'm better than you or anything, but I just think that a lot of people need to wake up. And we need to wake up to the fact that we are the creators of our lives. If you want to change your life for the better, you have to do that for yourself. No one's going to do that for you. If you don't like a situation that you're in, you need to do something to get yourself out of that situation. It's not going to happen overnight, in a day. It takes time for things to change, but being aware is the first step. It's making small little changes in your life that's going to better you and make you more happy is where you need to start. I just hope that as a society we can be more aware of how powerful we are, how much beauty there is in like being conscious and aware and awake and knocking yourself when you're a little envious of someone doing better than you. Like, that's ugly. That's ugly behavior. Like, I'm sorry, but... Or just thinking that everyone's out to get you, baby girl. Like, why are you taking things so personally? That's like the worst thing you can do for yourself is take things personally. It's, at the end of the day, it's never that deep. It's never that deep, you guys. I guarantee you, you taking that personally is like, that's just your ego. That's literally just your ego. Okay, I'm getting off tangent here. If you stayed to the end, I really appreciate you listening to me yap. I had no bullet points of what I wanted to talk about. I just know I wanted to discuss solitude and prioritizing your peace. Those are things that have changed my life drastically, and I'm very, very grateful for that. I love talking about these types of things. I think it's very interesting. And these are things I feel like we, as humans in this third dimension, need to be speaking about. It needs to be more normalized. Thanks for listening to me talk. Hopefully I can have another one of these sit-down videos soon, if you guys like it. And I hope you have a beautiful day, night, morning, weekend, weekday, whatever it is. I love you, and I'm very grateful for you being here. Bye.